What's good, everybody? We got another Miami podcast coming at you this week. This time, Ben Bader. Don't get it confused with Ben Mader from last week, but Ben Bader. He's crushing it in the online space, has an agency, is popping on Twitter, a little bit of TikTok too, and really good conversation with him talking about his journey and his goals and living in Miami and everything like that. So hope you guys enjoy this episode. We're going to have another one coming out Wednesday, 2 episodes a week now. And like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one. So we just did Ben Mader.
With an M.
We're in Ben Mader's apartment, but we're with Ben Bader. How does that?
That's wild. It's like you just misspelled one of our names. Like you clicked the wrong thing on the keyboard.
Wrong button. But no, dude, it's I've known you for like 2 or 3 years now. Been a couple trips together. Always been keeping in touch, and it's good to sit down. How you doing?
Totally, bro. I'm good. Everything is good.
305.
Yes, sir.
How's your
Loving
BBL?
Miami.
How many BBLs have you bought since you moved to Miami?
Only 7.
Okay.
There's like a few that are like they're pending, but you know, it takes a minute to see if the girl's qualified enough to get the BBL.
So you're an ass guy?
I guess so. I mean, there's plenty of everything in Miami. Like,
definitely.
Miami's fun though, bro. Like this is such. I'm sure Boston's like a similar way, but there's so many people that are just like young, doing cool stuff and building different things. And like, I can't step outside without seeing people that I see on the internet. Like whether it's other people that have podcasts, or the other day I was at Gecko and I was standing at the bar waiting for the table, and across from me, I see this tall dude who looks a lot like John Wall. And I'm like, why would John Wall be? Like, but he's retired now, right? Or he's not in the league. And then it was 100% John Wall. Like he was talking on the phone really loud, and he was talking about basketball. And then I went and sat down, and the tables at Gecko, it's like you're all sitting at one table together. Like they're so fucking close together. And I'm sitting there, and to my left, there's like these 2 guys, and I see the guy across from me like that way. And he's wearing like this cool Daytona, this Rolex, and I was like, oh, like that's a sick watch. And I look over to my directly to my left, and it's Johnny Manziel. Like,
No way.
No way.
It was just his birthday. I think it's today, actually.
yeah,
Yeah, he's down here. He follows us on
Really?
the club. Yeah.
fire.
We had his boy QB Stu on. You ever seen that? The guy that sparked up a joint in the middle of a football game.
Huh?
He was in like the
fucking-
fan
I'll send you
controlled
the clip.
football league, and then that was like lower than the XFL. But these guys are, great guys. And
The
then
teams were owned by like Quavo, like Destroying, all these like
Bob
celebrities.
That's hilarious.
Menery owned one. And yeah, fucking QB Stu was in it. Manziel was playing in it. And QB Stu, like, he was like the best quarterback in the league. He was tearing it up. And he throws like, 3 touchdowns in the game? Or no, he threw his first touchdown in the game. And then he goes over to the camera to like Destroying, the YouTuber, and pulls a joint out of his pants, sparks up in the middle of the game. Then he has to go play. And he
That's
like throws
hilarious.
another like 3 touchdowns.
That's hilarious.
And
Dude,
then-
I had friends in high school. I probably shouldn't say this on the internet, but whatever. Like I had friends in high school that would get high before our basketball games, and like they would go out there and play better high. Honestly, it was the craziest thing. I don't know how. Like I'd freak out.
So you went to a pretty big basketball high school.
I did for my freshman year.
Where are you from?
Like I'm from Cincinnati.
Okay.
So I went to this school my freshman year called Moeller, and Jackson Hayes, if you know him, and then Miles McBride, who plays on the Knicks now. We were all, dude, it's actually crazy. Like I knew they were good, but I didn't think either of them. I don't think anybody thought either of them were like league good back then, and they just fucking took off, bro.
One of the things, like knowing you and like knowing kind of your journey, but also like you always talk about it, like basketball was your first passion. That was
Totally.
like what you want to do. You want to be a pro basketball player, and
Yeah.
then you kind of realized that wasn't.
that I'm 5'10", and
Yeah.
white.
But like, so what was that? Growing up like that, and then like transitioning into the business world. What was that like?
Yeah, I think getting obsessed with anything is like the biggest blessing that you can have, because it's gonna like that obsession, that passion for something, it has to kind of transmute into something else eventually. And if it doesn't, those are probably the types of people that like are just really lost or get addicted to drugs or alcohol or something. So like luckily, I was able to kind of parlay that into business and into like, even the process of business is like, you kind of have to get obsessed with self-improvement, as corny as that sounds. so like I was able to parlay it into that, and then like moving out of basketball, I think life will give you signs when you're like ready to move away from something. So at that point, it was my junior year of college or of high school. I realized that like, okay, like I'm not going to the league. I'm not going D1. I'm not going to the league. And it was like, the answer was just obvious. I was like, all right, I'll do something else. And then for like probably 2-3 years, I was kind of lost because like you're looking for your next passion, right? But then I started videography, and then I was doing like the e-com ad creatives. Bro, that's crazy. Like that's when we first met. That's probably what I was doing.
Dude, what was it? Like Bade projects?
Bade projects, yeah.
And you were just like, I mean, it seemed like that was like your first, that was the bridge from like sports, because you had the trainers that you knew, the like sports connections.
Totally.
To doing something creative and like starting a business around it, right?
Yeah. And right, I was just like, all right, I'll fucking pick up a camera.
Young
and,
Gibson
like,
Hazard out here.
dude, he was a dog. I remember I would watch his videos and be like, I'm like, this is my thing.
Yeah,
but that's also interesting. You know, like everything that you do, you're at one point you were probably like, this is like what I'm meant to do. This is the thing that I want to do with the rest of my life. And then usually that doesn't end up like that. But if you can keep kind of finding those things that you want to put all of that passion into, I think that's how you like just keep staying on the right track. But it went from videography for sports, and then I was just doing like freelance video, and then I was doing the e-com ad creatives, and then I tried drop shipping. And then that's when I started the agency for basketball trainers. I was running a marketing agency for like local basketball trainers, where I would just run their Facebook lead gen ads and like try and help get them more clients. So I was doing that for probably a year and a half. And then that led me, I kind of built like a little personal brand in the basketball training space. So I started working with the guys that were selling info products in basketball. And then I learned all about info. And then I started working with guys that sell courses and coaching and all the people that are like, you can make money online doing XYZ.
What about the LeVar Ball Hooper Media video?
That's hilarious that on Cameo that you can just do that. Like that was I paid $500 for a LeVar Ball cameo on.
But didn't that do like that? That was a really good creative for you, right?
Yeah, I was running ads to that. Actually, I totally forgot about that. But like, yeah.
So what exactly happened there? I'm not familiar with this.
So there's this site called Cameo where like anybody that has a little bit of clout or notoriety can go and sign up and basically sell like a video of them. Like if you wanted to get a happy birthday to Aaron, you could have LeVar Ball or Floyd Mayweather. I don't know, people, somebody like Floyd, like whoever, some people like that, like make a video like, yo, Aaron, happy birthday. So it was like $500 to get LeVar Ball to like shout out your business. So I did that, and then I don't think you're allowed to do this. I was putting
and to your business at the time, like explain a little bit of what.
So that was the basketball trainer marketing agency. And so like obviously everybody in basketball is gonna know LeVar, especially a couple years ago. Like he was really even
biggest
more
thing on the
relevant
internet.
then. So I did that, and then I was running ads to get clients using that as an ad creative. And like that worked. I mean,
and you just put the Hooper Media logo right over Cameo's watermark.
Yeah.
And it just goes like, Hooper Media,
listen up, man.
No, that's great.
It was a hilarious video, bro. It's funny that I've seen people do that with like Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank. And then, bro, now with all of the AI shit,
Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan, like the podcasts.
Yeah, and those are like fake, bro. Like there are people that are like running like sex pills, that are selling sex pills and shit like that are using these like black hat kind of tactics with their ads. And like obviously there's restrictions, but you can find ways to get around them. And I'm sure they're fucking printing. And like all of the copy is like so hard, salesy, direct response. Like I saw, do you know Alpha M?
No.
Do you know Alpha M? He's got a big YouTube channel. It's like he's like a men's self-improvement kind of guy.
I might have seen him before.
But I saw him in an ad on, it was either Facebook or YouTube, where he was talking about like this dick enlargement pill. And like I don't think he was actually talking about the pill. I think they like took a clip from him talking in one of his videos and just like clipped it up and then maybe used AI with his voice to get him to sound like he was talking about that product. And I'm sure they're printing, but that's fucking crazy to me. Like the AI shit is wild.
Is there a lot of that in Miami, like guys doing in the AI space and like?
Probably. I just because all of my immediate closest friends are like they were not really doing
You're
much
not
with
friends
AI.
with a bunch of robots.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that are doing like some sketchy shit. I will say that. Like I know plenty of people that I don't want to get into the details, but like they're running e-com brands that are sketchy. They're using really sketchy tactics to sell products and make money, and like to each their own. I don't think I could live with myself if that's how I was making money, because I feel like it's an easy way out. Like if you can cheat the system, sure, and you can make a lot of money doing it, but like you're always going to have the anxiety of like what happens if this blows up, what happens if I get caught, and if you just found a glitch in the system, are you really building real skills that you can parlay into the next thing? I don't know. But those are usually the people that you see that are driving around in Lambos and
Rented.
maybe
Who knows?
or that's where their tax money went.
Yeah. So how did you transition from like Hooper Media to like to just a larger space?
So because I started working with like DJ Sackman, if you know him, and Jordan Lawley, Gannon Baker, we worked a little bit with Michael Lancaster. Like these are all the big basketball trainers that have bigger personal brands. So I started working with those guys, and I was just doing like everything for them. I was building their funnels, I was running ads, I was writing emails, and that just like I was making good money at the time, but it was almost like a little internship where I was just doing so much and learning so much. And then once I was at a point where I was like, okay, I really understand how to write copy. I understand how to build funnels and just how to sell digital products and info products online. I was like, all right, there's more opportunity if I don't just stay in the basketball space. So I had Twitter at the time. I still had a decent network, and I just started reaching out to people that were like in my immediate network, seeing if I could just do the same kind of thing, whether it was running their ads or building a new funnel or writing their emails. And those are people that are selling like, here's how to make 10K a month online in high ticket sales or copywriting or Amazon FBA. We've had a bunch of dating coaches recently that we've worked with as well, which is always funny. But yeah,
Do you think starting in the basketball space was like a little bit? Well, you were kind of a pioneer in that space, right? Like there was not too many other people doing what you were doing, which was taking almost a business model from the entrepreneurial online coaching space and putting it in this like basketball industry that's like kind of outdated almost, right?
Yeah, not even outdated. It's just like they weren't used to investing in marketing. Yeah. And so like it's the same kind of thing that people do in real estate or like with HVAC or like any local business. They all need leads. But nobody's thinks like, all right, let's target broke basketball trainers, which like in hindsight was probably a dumb move. But what was your original?
Well, was it a good way for you to learn the fundamentals?
It was. That was the value. Like I would have made more money if I was working with dentists or doctors or whatever other industry that most people that are doing like typical lead gen SMMA do. But it was a good way to kind of have training wheels on while I was building that business, and like I was talking to people that I understood. Like I grew up playing basketball, so it was just easy for me to make connections there. And then again, like it led to the next thing, and I think that's like the best part of it. Like yeah, I might have been able to make more money working in a different industry, but it all ends up working out.
And so for the better part of the last year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, a year and a half, I'd say. I've been working just like with the general kind of info products and coaching. Our biggest wins have come through webinars and like selling products through like actual live webinars. And it's fun, bro. Like I really enjoy it. I'm able to work with cool people. Like I'm able to work with a lot of my friends that just happen to all sell coaching and info. And yeah,
what are some of the biggest like differences in webinars like in 2023 now to like Ty Lopez era? Like
yeah, good question. Honestly, I don't fucking know. Like I think a lot of the principles are still being used. Like you have like obviously consumers are going to get smarter. So like some of the scarcity and urgency tactics that might have been like over the top then just wouldn't work now. Like you probably can't be quite as corny and out there. But but like there's still principles of marketing and sales in general and like psychology that never go away. So I don't really know the difference. Like when webinars were like a big thing when maybe it was early 2010s or like even 5-10 years ago. Yeah. But yeah, I think a lot of the principles have stayed the same, and it's just like an efficient mechanism to spend a lot of time with somebody before you're selling them something. So like to get anybody to buy anything that's a little bit more expensive, they need to do more research. And you need to feel like you, especially if it's information, you need to feel like you have a genuine connection with that person that you're buying it from. So the webinar, when you're sitting there with somebody for an hour and a half, and they're telling you how they went from here to there, and they're telling you all about how the business model works and all this kind of stuff, it's like a speed date. And then by the end of that, it's like they've known you for longer, so they're more inclined to make a purchase.
And most of the time you're steering the conversation how you want it
Totally.
to.
I mean, every word pretty much is scripted.
Yeah.
And yeah, like so you overcome all of their objections along the way. Like you sell them on, let's say if I was on the webinar, I'd be selling them on myself, like as why I'm the person that they should be learning from and my story, what I've done. I'm selling them on the business model and like how it works, that they understand it. And do they like, also they need to know that it's not just like some get rich quick thing that's going to like be gone in a couple of years. Like people are all these little fears that you kind of have to get over. And then the last thing is selling them on themselves. So like giving them the confidence through showing them that other people have done it. Like, yo, this person was in your exact situation, in your position. And then boom, they got it in the program. They did this, and boom, now they're making money.
What about that industry and that business like gives you the confidence that that's like a good place for you to be in now, but also looking like forward?
How so? Like
just webinars and info products in general and like everything that you're doing with your agency.
Yeah. I think so for me, like the agency is really just a cash flow vehicle right now, like mainly for my lifestyle. Like it's a lot of fun. I'm still stacking cash. But I don't think the agency specifically is going to make me rich. I think it can serve as the vehicle that helps me find the thing that it's actually going to make me, 8 figures eventually. Like, and info products aren't going anywhere. Like I think I can get the agency to probably 200, 300K a month within the next handful of months, six months or so. And I do think info is only growing as a whole. Like people are only buying more and more coaching programs, and there's more and more people that are popping up on TikTok every day. Like it's so fucking easy, bro. Like I could sell something to my audience on TikTok right now, and I don't have anything to sell. I just started yapping on the internet because I enjoyed it.
Didn't you tweet something about that like the other day?
Bug.
Like just about like
about how like I'm treating my personal brand now almost as like that's like my long-term equity play, because I know eventually, like whether I sell info or like I just a personal brand like that, bro, is just, there's so much leverage that you have. Like you can do anything with it as long as you have a loyal audience and people that respect you and want to learn from you or look up to you. So I think like, again, with agency as like cash flow vehicle for shorter term, and then personal brand, like eventually maybe that'll be the main thing. But I think like Gary Vee used to always talk about that, and I never really understood it when he would say like everybody should have a personal brand, like that's like your long-term play. I didn't really get it until I like started to build mine, and then you just see all these people that whether they're selling info or like they build a clothing brand, or like you see Jake Paul with Prime, right? Like that's $1 billion company overnight because he has a fucking huge audience. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't know if I'll ever get to Jake Paul level notoriety. I don't think I'd want to, but there's still plenty of opportunity at a much smaller scale.
Well, and part of the reason for that value, like the $1 billion valuations and stuff, is like because, and not to knock you or anything, right? But like when he was like a smaller creator, he wasn't selling as much. He was just putting it out. Right. And like you already have that mindset, obviously. Right. It's like, oh, I'm not shit yet, but like, so I'm not going to sell, but I'm just going to pour energy and value into my content.
Yeah. That's a good point too. Like, and I'm not selling coaching, like, because I'm like against it morally or anything like that. I think Like if I got the cash flow from agency and I'm not strapped for cash, I could turn around and sell coaching right now. But like, why? I feel like I'd be selling myself a little short. It'd just be a fucking headache. Like I don't want to do that right now. Like I see I'm watching all of the clients that we work with that like, it's awesome. They're making a ton of money, but they have to deal with all these problems on the back end and all these students that are, there's just so many moving pieces. It's a whole nother business, a whole nother operation that like is a lot to manage. So yeah, like exactly like you said, I think if I just keep building the equity, like eventually it'll be obvious whether it's coaching or something that I can do to make money from personal brand.
Why do you think that like so many people are coming out with like courses now, but people are continually buying them? Like years ago, I feel like these courses didn't exist back when you said, Tai Lopez was around, but now everybody like has a clone of them. They're putting out basically the same materials in a course. How are there so many customers to like pay for that?
Yeah, I mean, there's like, you don't realize how many fucking people there are in the world that want to learn how to make money online. Mm-hmm. And I think people like Tate and Iman Gadji and just all of like the really big personal brands, they just indoctrinate more and more people into like, oh, 9 to 5 is bad, like resist the slave mind, like all that fucking whatever. But like there's more and more people that get exposed to it, so then the market as a whole grows, and then that creates more opportunity for people that have a few 100,000 followers to come in and be like, yo, this is a very specific niche business model, like copywriting or sales or drop shipping or whatever. And then it just continues to grow and grow, and then there's more people that are making money from it, and then they have more results, and then those people turn into coaches as well. It's just like a fucking cesspool almost of all of these people that are like, do thing to make money, talk about it online, sell thing, and then more and more people do it. It just spirals, and I think there's endless opportunity with it. Obviously, there are people that sell courses that suck, like that they're just not legit. And I think like if you've never actually had like real long-term success with a business model, there's plenty of people that are selling courses on something like that. It's just, but a lot of the time people can see through that. I will say, like, people love to hate on courses, but the good ones stick around, the bad ones don't. Like,
so how do people like find good courses that, just aren't necessarily people regurgitating Iman Gadji and Andrew Tate's information? Like, what should they be looking for? How do you put that information out to your audience, I guess?
Yeah. Well, I think that comes down to like how well they resonate with the creator. Like, let's say you wanted to teach people how to start a freelance videography business and make 10 grand a month. Like, if you started talking on TikTok about like, all right, here's what I did to get my first client. Here's what I did when this happened and I don't know how to use the aperture correctly and whatever, So like you can kind of see how genuine somebody is through their content that they're putting out for free. And then if they have a good track record, if they've like told a lot about their story and their own results and they have case studies, you can kind of see like, okay, this person clearly did what they said they did. There's clearly people that bought their thing and it's working and they're getting results. And it seems like somebody that would be good to learn from. But like the people that are just like super flashy lifestyle marketing, unless that's just like top of funnel to get more eyeballs in, a lot of the time those people, like if they don't have a story, if they can't say, okay, here's exactly how I did XYZ and how I made money doing it, like most people are going to see through that though. So yeah, again, it just comes down to like the credibility that you're able to build up with the personal brand. And if people really trust you, then there's a reason for that.
And is that why like you've kind of like you built your business first and then you've kind of waited to start sharing your information to your following?
Totally. Like I always wanted to like be behind the camera, or I guess in front of the camera. Were you behind or in front of the camera? I guess we're in front of the camera.
We're in front of it now.
Yeah, I've always wanted to like make content, and I would watch YouTubers like fucking Arlen. Like that's basically how we met, is through somebody like Arlen. Yeah. And I'd look at those people and be like, oh, I want my life to be like that. But it took me a while to be in a position where like I had anything to talk about. I was somebody worth listening to. Mm. And then once I did shit, I was like, oh, I'll talk about my journey and shit that I've learned along the way, and it resonates with some people. And then some people love to hate me in my fucking TikTok comments and talk shit. But
What was it like to like filming that first TikTok video? Because you had a TikTok account, you'd post whatever other videos on there, but like the first one where you sat down, you're like, I'm ready to start talking about stuff and then like creating. Was there any like mental, just like anything going on in your head at that point?
I don't think there was ever like a moment where I was like, okay, now I'm ready. Honestly, it hit me after I thought it would have, like, because I think for the longest time I was like, all right, well, once I'm making 10, 20K a month, I'll like start making content. And then after a while I was making decent money, and then I was like, wait, I haven't been making content the way I said I would. That's like a lot of things, right? Like you say you're going to get to a level and then you're going to start doing something else that you really wanted to do. And then you don't do that thing until you realize that you already achieved whatever arbitrary milestone you set, and then you didn't actually do the thing that you wanted to do in order, or like once you got there. So I think I don't know when I made my first TikTok, or like what made me decide to even start talking shit, other than the fact that it was just something.
Well, you were already on Twitter, very active.
Yeah. Twitter has been so fun, and like that's how I met everybody that I live with in Miami. Like that's fucking sick, bro. Like it's just opened so many doors. So like I say I don't make money from my personal brand, and I don't, but it makes me connections that make me money.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, with Twitter, and then I remember I was so fucking bad in the beginning on talking on video. Like my videos were so fucking cringy, bro. And like my face would be positioned weird, and I just look retarded. And then like I got better and better, and then eventually I think like once I had a couple videos do decently well, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like it's just so much dopamine that's just instant. Like you refresh 99 likes, 99 likes, and you're like, what the fuck?
The TikTok dopamine cycle is insane.
It's absurd. Like it fries whenever I have a video go viral, my brain is fried for the next week.
You don't get anything done
for the next week because I'm just fucking checking that shit all day.
What?
That was like the Emiliano Vargas video we got.
Oh, yeah.
We got like 250,000 views on it within a few days.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I was just checking it constantly.
First one that- yeah.
The first one that blew up.
Well, and then you're getting like girls in your DMs too, right?
Dude, that's the best part about it. Like, oh yeah, I want to make personal brand to fucking make money and blah blah. Blah. No, like, you get girls like that'll come from TikTok and then slide in Instagram DMs. And my God bless TikTok, bro. It shows your videos to people that are like local to you in Miami. And that's perfect. It's
You just
like,
look out. Oh, hey, what's up down there?
it's also the coolest thing when you're out like with your boys or with a girl, and somebody's like, yo, are you Ben? I've seen you on TikTok. That's the coolest shit ever. And you're like, yo, can you say that a little louder, like right in front of this person that I'm with? And like, you know, if you want a picture, like, oh fucking, I'll get a picture with you. I'll sign an autograph. But yeah, like a lot of clout's kind of like having a little. Obviously, I don't have a ton of clout, but having a little clout is fun. Like you can't deny that. It's a sick feeling.
What about like? Well, I feel like Miami is like very used to that. Like you're not like people are just kind of like it's a normal thing to like have a big TikTok or something. But like in a different city, like you're that guy that makes TikTok videos. You're the guy that like kind of an outcast.
Right. Yeah,
Do you feel
Miami,
that
it's
here?
like
It's
everybody's
like-
fucking
it's just
doing
normal,
it.
right?
And I'll leave my apartment to go to dinner, and I'm walking down the street, like where Moxie's is, and I'll see one person doing street interviews. Like 10 feet down, it's another person doing street interviews. Then I pass somebody that I've seen on TikTok, and then it's like the fresh and fit guys, and like
Who's that guy on TikTok that's like always in Brickell and he's just kind of like a very like outgoing dude, but he's just like always on the street.
he's a nut job a little bit.
I think so.
Das
Yeah.
Money,
Yeah, him.
Alberto.
You know?
Yeah,
Ronald?
we've talked a bit. He's fucking hilarious. But he's like, that kid's insane. I love him. He's just so like friendly. He's like a golden retriever, bro.
Yeah.
But he's a homie. Like,
You ever partake in the street interviews too, or?
I've been in some.
Yeah.
With Escocito Tequila.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I've been in a couple of theirs, and those were so fun. Like I do enjoy doing content like that because it's just like different, and I'm just like, I don't know, able to be a retard. Like they have this Viking of a woman. Her name's Gabby. She's such a sweetheart, but she's like 6'1", and we're doing a street interview, and she's wearing heels, bro. I look like I'm 5'3".
Oh, no.
Like it's horrible.
That's why your league dreams are out the window.
Literally. And she asked me, what was it? was it red flags? No, it was something about women. And I told her how like when I go out, I look for like the largest, strongest woman I can find because I want to build like a team of NFL babies. And I just like went on this like 30-second little ramble about that. But yeah, there's no point there, but like that, it's just fun. Yeah, and that woman was really large. Not like big, but like tall.
So like, when you post on TikTok, I mean, I feel like a lot of your videos are meant to kind of like drive conversation, and like two that come to mind are the one, and you're like, hey, you guys, like, you can't be sitting around on Sundays just like watching football. Like, you gotta grind. Like, you're not gonna actually wear another grown man's name on the back of your. And then you just pan to a Joe Burrow jersey. But then our favorite one is, guys, like, you're not successful in life unless your wife can lose $20K a month on a business.
Yeah.
So like, is there ever like anything that like you've like recorded on TikTok and then you're like, I can't post that?
I have a few in the drafts that I'm just like, that's like a little. I went a little too far, but did I or did I not? Like those are probably the videos that would like actually do well. So part of it is like getting over that fear, right? But for those two in particular, I think there's like an art to making people wonder, like, yo, is this guy serious? Because like obviously in the video about having a wife that runs a little Pilates studio that loses 20K a month, like I'm half joking, but like I'm not
A little.
That would be a nice luxury to have if you're.
Maybe a little less than half, right?
Yeah, like I would love it. I would love to eventually have a wife that has
Then
a
you'd be an
Pilates
investor
studio.
in a Pilates studio.
Yeah, and it's a write-off.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, you're kind of like people will comment and like and watch the video all the way through if you can just like elicit a strong emotion. Like, so if they strongly disagree with it, like they're gonna watch that entire video because they're like, this fucking he's belittling women, whatever. And then like the same thing with the Joe Burrow one. If you're the type of person that's watching football on Sundays and you enjoy doing that, and I fucking do, obviously, you're watching that entire video, and then at the end I show the Joe Burrow picture that I have. So yeah, I think your original question was like, is there's definitely going too far. Like I don't want to ever get gimmicky. Like I see some of the streamers, bro. Like do you guys see the streamers?
I see the clips on TikTok. And
Okay,
stuff.
like I don't want to name names, but like
Name names.
You know the guys I'm talking about, right? Like, a lot of them live here, like around.
Yeah.
Like, and did you see? Oh, so like Zerka got in a fight recently, like that.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know, they're just doing clown shit, bro.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why they just go too far. And
Well,
it's
that's
like,
all they only have the views. That's like they don't have something outside of that that's like supporting their lifestyle.
right. And then I think like you're, especially with content, it's like hard to stay relevant for a long time. Like I can think of a handful of people that have, like Gary Vee's been around for a while. Granted, I never see his videos anymore, but I'm sure he still has a big audience. But it definitely peaked. Maybe eventually he'll return to that level. But like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, like there's a handful of people that have had a really big personality in the online space for a long time. And I think you're gonna have ebbs and flows, and like the streamers, just like if they had a ton of clout at one time and it like all gets to their head, and then they notice that their views are dropping and they're not making as much money, it's like, oh my god, I just got to get crazier and crazier and say more outlandish things. Like that's dangerous, bro. That's a slippery slope.
Have you found yourself like having to worry about like portraying a certain image or like filtering yourself for the business side that might not be on TikTok, or do you kind of just stay an open book and like when you meet Ben, this is who you meet and like you know who you're meeting?
Yeah. So for business, not anymore, because like all of the clients that I work with are people that are like our age and that are homies, and that a lot of like I think it helps me just because then they know who I am coming into like before we even work together. So, but in the past a little bit, and I think you just learn how to, as you go throughout life, you learn how to filter yourself less and be more of yourself. And then doing that on the internet is like another thing as well. But as far as like trying to hold back what I'm saying online for business, I don't feel the need to do that, because like it's not like I'm working with insurance agents or dentists or lawyers. Like I'm working with homies that are probably think the same way that I do anyway.
Of course. Yeah, it just makes you more realistic, relatable.
Right.
No, that's good.
And like, yeah, I could just care less. Even if it loses me business, now I don't care. Like we've got plenty of people that want to work with us, and there's always going to be more and more opportunities. Like,
I feel like for you, like throughout your journey, I've always admired like you as a creator and like creative, and you know, you're creating a lot of TikTok content now. You used to make videos, but then also like writing has been like a big thing
Yeah.
and skill set of yours. And like I get your emails all the time.
Do
Like,
you?
your tweets are like always good. And like obviously copywriting has been a part of your business for, you know, the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
How did you develop that skill and like touch on the importance of writing?
yeah,
in
bro,
your eyes?
I've always loved writing. Even in school, like whenever it would be rare, but if I would get like a subject that I actually liked writing about, I would write the hell of a paper. So I just like, I think I started journaling, I think is really where it started. Like I was journaling, I was writing some emails and then tweeting, like those three things that were mainly just for myself. Like it's like free therapy, as like, instead of going and talking to somebody like, oh, here's how I'm feeling and these are my problems. You get to do that on paper with yourself, and you just get to close all these tabs that are open in your brain. Like, all right, I'm feeling this way. Why am I feeling this way? Like, what's going on in my life that I'm excited about? What's going on that's stressing me? Whatever. And I think on Twitter, like that's been a lot of fun because it's the combination of that. Like you're doing it for yourself, but you also get some validation from other people when like you have tweets that do well, or when people reply and they really like my emails. Like that's sick when I say something and it really resonates. Like that's just a good feeling. And I think a big part of that also is just like you learn that the things that are more personal to you are usually more universal to other people. So like a really niche observation that you make can, if it's like something that other people have always thought, but they never really articulated.
They never talked about it.
Yeah, like those are commonly the things that do really well. And then for the newsletter, like I really enjoy that. And copywriting for like the copy that we write for clients, just the skill of writing is so important, bro. Like that's why copy is why people buy stuff. And I think I honed that skill when I was like doing videography, because I was like in ecom ad creatives. Like I had to put copy on those videos.
Cashvertising.
Yeah, like reading
Boron
those
Letters.
and shit, bro. The Boron Letters is still one of my favorite books. Have you read that one?
Yeah.
Because that's
It's like it's like a massive book for like
it
no
is.
reason.
Yeah, and then like the pages are huge, but it's not very dense. Like,
Yeah.
But it's like I love that style of writing. It's just like very free flowing, stream of consciousness kind of feel. And then like I think it allows you to work out problems and like find truth. Like, okay, I think this thing and I feel this way about certain topic. Like let's write about it and see what happens. Like that's generally the approach that I take, especially in my newsletter and my emails. It's just like, all right, I'm thinking about this thing, I'm gonna start writing about it, and then by the end of that, I usually like come to a conclusion of why I think certain thing. And then it solidifies these ideas and these beliefs that you have in your own mind. When you think through them or you write them out, it solidifies that. So then when I'm talking to somebody and a topic comes up, you know, when you're talking to somebody and they just like, you can tell they've thought about whatever it is before. Like sometimes I'll be talking to Sanjay and we have like kind of two different approaches to like relationships right now, and like
Phil,
marriage.
if someone doesn't know who Sanjay is.
So
Phil
Sanjay's my partner in the agency. He lives with me in Miami. Total homie, like just fucking hilarious kid, making good money too, like killer. And we're in two very different spots when it comes to like dating and relationships right now. Like he's in a situation where he was saying like he wouldn't mind if he were to get married in the next few years. And then like I just remember the way he explained it to me, and like because it sounds crazy to me, but then hearing the way he thought about that, I was like, okay, like that makes sense. This isn't just like some thing that you heard Andrew Tate say. Like that's a big thing too, is like, especially now with everybody yapping on the internet, myself included, you can just hear something that sounds good and accept it as your own belief, but you never went through the journey to arrive at that conclusion. So it's like, it's built on stilts. Like, so then all of your beliefs are half-hearted.
You get like 80% there, and then you don't know how to finish the thought or like actually
Right.
close the statement out.
Right, exactly. I feel like there's a good analogy that I could think of for that. But yeah, so I think it just solidifies these things. It makes your perspective more certain. And it's just like a really good way to clear your thoughts.
Do you see yourself writing a book in the future?
Totally. I tell every girl that I talk to, like that's one of the first things I tell them, because like usually like they know I'm on TikTok, and then like I'll just be like talking shit to them, and they're like, you know, you're interested, like you should write a book, and I'm like, yeah, you know, like one day I'm gonna write a book. And
You tell them you're already starting it.
Huh?
You should tell them you're already starting it.
I
Like,
should.
yeah, you're gonna be in it.
Yeah,
Actually,
facts.
Like,
But yeah, I totally will. At least I say that now. But I think like if you're kind of doing a disservice to the world if you don't share your gifts with other people. And I'm hesitant to say it like that because I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm fucking the best thing on earth. But if you feel like you need to do something and you feel like it, for whatever reason that's calling you, you got to do it. Like you just got to do it because you owe it to yourself, and I think you owe it to the universe as a whole, right? So that's another thing that's just like always been on my mind. Like I want to live a life that's interesting enough to write a really interesting book one day.
Is that something you always thought about, or is that like a realization that you've had in the past couple of years, you know, living here in Miami around like-minded kind of guys?
I've always been really creative, kind of like you said, like you've seen me do a bunch of other shit. And I think it was probably when I was maybe in high school where I was like, I'm really interested in this kind of stuff. Like that'd be cool to write a book one day. But I think innately I always knew like your life has to be very interesting for you to be able to write a good book. Cause like really being a good writer outside of like, there's copywriting frameworks, there's systems that you need to follow, but being a good writer is just like all about perspective. So if I were to sit home and just write for 8 hours a day, that wouldn't serve me as much as like me going and experiencing life and then coming and writing for an hour. Like you can only get so good if you just follow frameworks and formulas, because like you just won't have a broad perspective of life. So I think like again, whenever I decided like I think I want to write a book one day, I think I innately knew like now I have to go. If I want to do that, I have to make my life interesting enough and I have to experience enough to where I'm again somebody that people should listen to or are worth listening to.
So I want to ask you kind of about like success and imposter syndrome and kind of like off of a couple of things you just said, because I think it's actually like in your pinned tweet, you kind of like write about like, oh, it seems like, you know, I may have made it, but I have my days where, you know, like I doubt myself and it feels like everything's going to be, you know, crumbling down.
Totally.
And then you said that, you know, right now, like, you know, the work that you're doing, you're making a lot of money, but a lot of it's going to like fund your lifestyle and like the cash flow. And you're wearing a $60,000 watch. You just bought a Porsche 911. Like you're living in Miami. Like, You're obviously doing okay. So like, and then you also mentioned like, oh, you know, not anybody can just go on TikTok and, you know, like sell a course, and not anybody can just go and like write a book. And you're humble enough about it where, you know, you say, I have had this success, but like, I know that I can give information that is like, would help people and it would be beneficial to people.
Totally.
So like, what were some of like the milestones in business and then just life where you've had kind of like highs and lows and you've realized, oh, you know, I'm doing well now. You know, long and winded question, but like, you know, like, where did you find that balance where, you know, like I know I'm successful, but I'm not as successful as I want to be. Mm-hmm. And like, I know I'm successful, but like not as successful as some people who are already putting out content. Like,
yeah. It's an interesting paradox, right?
Right.
Because it's like, you're always going to want more, and understanding that and accepting that is part of the key to, I think, being happy with what you have. But you need to know that you're always going to want more, because like that desire is never going to go away, because like I think it's human nature to continue to evolve. So like throughout my journey, like in the beginning when you first start out, you're just like, oh, I want to make 10K a month. And then I remember getting there and like it was great, but it wasn't like it's never as good as you build it up to be in your head. Same thing with buying the watch, or even like I just bought my Porsche 911's always been my dream car. And like once I love it. It's fucking sick. But it's not like I understand that I am buying that thing because I really like it. I want to experience it. I've always wanted it. I feel like I owe that to myself to go and get those things that you've always wanted. But I understand that that's not the thing that's like going to make me feel fulfilled or happy or give me anything outside of pleasure, really. So, and I've learned that a lot in like many different forms throughout my journey, like whether it's reaching an income milestone or even living in Miami, like you just are continuously reminded that you kind of only have yourself. And if you're not happy when you're in your Civic, you're not going to be happy when you're in your Porsche. So I think a lot of like the milestones that you reach, it's kind of delayed to when you realize that you're living in that goal or in that, like, you dream about your future life. You're like, okay, I want to be living in Miami, surrounded by this type of people. I want to be whatever that looks like for either of you. And then you think about those things, and then let's say in a year you get there. It's never really like a day where you're like, oh, I fucking made it. Like, this is sick. But eventually one morning you're gonna like wake up and look around and be like, wait, holy shit, this is literally everything that I was dreaming about a year ago. And I think like in those little instances of gratitude, like that's really cool. You can really appreciate and cherish those times. But again, like I said in that tweet, there's never going to be like some blissful utopia that just doesn't exist. And you wouldn't want that anyway, because if you don't have the lows, you're never going to appreciate the highs. Mm-hmm. So yeah, good question.
No, I know it's kind of like long and winded, totally. But I was curious to see where your head was at with that.
Kind of hopping on that question, like, what would you say to, a kid sitting in a frat house in Charleston right now, or, had just like kind of realized that basketball wasn't like, going to be his career, and like is searching for that next thing, in this day and age, maybe not when you were growing up, but like right now?
I'd say follow your curiosity. I heard somebody else say this on a podcast, so I'm just gonna adopt it.
Did you write it down after you heard it though?
Follow your curiosity. I put it on my mirror. But that's it, bro. Like that what got you into video? It was, you're like, oh, that'd be fucking cool. Like I'll pick up a camera and see what happens. And now you guys are here. Now you guys are living the life that you're living. Like whatever that curiosity is, that's gonna lead you to where you need to go. But you also have to have the mental fortitude and the trust in yourself to know that you're not going to know how it's going to work out, and be okay with that. Like when you guys started video, you were like, all right, let's try it and see what happens. When you dropped out of college, like I remember you were like,
I didn't even go to college.
Oh yeah. When you decided not to go to college, I remember that was like a big thing. Like
totally.
But you had enough trust in yourself to just take that leap. And so I think like we're conditioned to want to know every step that's going to be on the staircase, but you're never going to know. And it's the ones that can have enough trust in themselves to figure it out when the problem arises. Like that's how you actually win. That's how you find success. You find your passion, your calling, whatever that is.
Figure it the fuck out. Like
Fitfo, bro. Yeah, it's funny that it would be like we're fucking doing bows and toes like on bottle caps, like Fitfo, bro. Like, and now it's on TikTok.
That's crazy. No, that's so cool. Well, awesome, dude. Thank you so much for coming on.
Totally.
Spitting some game, talking about the content, the TikTok, the business, everything. Anything else anything else on your mind?
Dude, I hate Miami elevators.
Okay.
That's one thing that's on my mind. Is when I was coming here. So that's the inconveniences of Miami. Elevators, traffic, both vehicle traffic and people. For some reason, like people just, I guess this is everywhere, people lack awareness in general. Like one person taking up a whole fucking sidewalk. That's annoying.
But without those people, everybody would be too smart, and then there would be like no smart people, right?
That's the real
the world
fucking
needs ditch
red
diggers.
pill.
Yeah, you need the fucking loser. Like yeah.
We need the Jay Hills of the world.
We won't go there. We love Jay Hill, but no, I mean, I don't know. Miami traffic isn't as bad as like, I don't know.
Boston even.
Boston,
really?
Boston sucks.
Yeah. The only thing about Miami, like the roads are kind of small. But they do like they'll have fucking 4 lanes, but like all of them will still. There's also always construction, and there's always 1 lane shut down or like that's it is.
Elevators, awareness.
Elevators fucking suck.
Traffic.
The Bengals are back. they were gone. Well, Burrow. I mean, the season's over. They're not
Isn't
gonna
Burr
win Jake
hurt?
Browning.
Yeah.
But I'm a big Bengals fan, and I like that. That's like my guilty pleasure, honestly. Like I'm a bit embarrassed when I tell people like, yo, I'm a big Bengals fan. Like it's.
What
my
about basketball?
Sunday.
You've been watching basketball this year?
Not a ton. I've been going to a couple of the Heat games. The Heat
Okay.
games are fucking fun, bro. And
Yeah.
I realized if you wait till the last second, like if you, let's say the game starts at 7:30, if you buy a ticket at 7:27, you can get the first row for like $500. Or like courtside even. I want to go courtside sometime soon. Like it'll be, if I wait till the last second, probably $1,500, which is like, yeah, whatever. But like,
We've both gone to a couple Celtics games recently and sat like I sat right the first row behind the bench, which like kind of sucks because like the bench is like in the way, but it's like sick. You see Joe Mazzulla like drawing up a timeout, drawing up a play, but and then he sat like second row.
Yeah, right
2
behind the
weeks ago.
Celtics bench, or right behind the net.
But have you
He
gone
was
to
Celtics bench.
in season tournament?
I went to when they played the Wizards. We were right behind the Wizards
Okay.
bench, and the motherfucker Jordan Poole was in. He was in this girl that I'm friends with. He was in her DMs.
Oh.
So I was yapping at him
That's
on the
awesome.
bench. I was like, bro, what the fuck you doing?
That's
Like-
awesome. That's great. There we go. Well, awesome. That's
We got a little, or before we can say this after
Yeah.
even, but we have a little trick for like basketball games and stuff. So you go on like 3 minutes before the game, like right before the seats like.
oh, we'll
have
say that
sold.
after probably.
After.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
No, anyways, dude, thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming on. It's
Thank
always
you
great
both
to
for
see
having
you.
me on.
I'll see you soon probably.
Yes, sir.
And then have a good weekend for Basel. This will be posted
Thanks, boys.
after Basel probably, but hopefully you have a good weekend here.
Fire, bro.
Awesome.
Appreciate you guys.